So I just did one on Club Paris, and in that same timeline, within that same era of me working the Chicago nightlife or entertainment industry, I wouldn't ever accept or say that there's any girl out of my league. I'm in a whole, I am the bridegroom. They are grooming me for Cosmic King, so I am in a whole different thing. But anyway, I've never been shy. I was always a gentleman, always very polite and friendly. Mostly too polite and too friendly. But one of the clubs in Chicago used to have like red curtains that would, go around your booth in the upstairs VIP area or whatever, and then you're looking down at the dance floor, depending on where your booth was for bottle service. But my table, I had the curtains open, but the people I was with wanted to shut the curtains so they could do their little bumps behind the curtains. I'm not trying to come to a club unless you're talking to some people, be secluded. I'm trying to come and see the fashion, watch people dance, feel the positive energy. But anyway, the curtain was closed on the left side of us going around, which there was no table on the other side. That's, where it kind of went down towards the dance floor, or the lower levels, or maybe bar over there. But the booth was open next to us, and there was three of the most beautiful girls, but one to two of them looked a little bit more not so friendly, or just not not as much my type, but still very beautiful. But the one in the middle was wearing a white dress that I'd say was a $5,000 to $8,000 dress. It was a very beautiful, beautiful dress, and I've studied dresses and girls changing on and putting on many, many dresses and many, many hours of and been to runway shows in the dressing rooms and with the girls, and so I have definitely studied some expensive dresses, and can tell ones that are not so cheap. But I see this dress, and but the girl in it, one of the most beautiful blondes, which I like, mostly brunettes or brown hair. And redheads can be dangerous, but anyway. So I was kind of waiting, for the girls to go to the bathroom. The other, girls, I saw a chance, and my buddies are like, dude, those girls are like out of our league, man. I was like, you say that about yourself, buddy, but you're not in my league. But anyway, I had lived on Billionaire's Farm as a kid, and I've known a handful of them and been around billionaires my whole life. Millionaires, and I come from a banking and farm family. My family started two of the biggest banks in Kentucky, founding presidents of Whitakers and Farmers, long ago. But then sold out in like the 90s or whatever to their partners. But anyway, after my grandfather passed in the 80s, no point in staying in it. But anyway, so there's this. I waited for these two, which would be like the sidekicks or. The security almost to keep people away from the one in the middle, which would have been she had a big Belvedere, the big bottles, like the same thing I had, and or Grey Goose, but it was one of the big vodka bottles in their, ice thing, and so I went and offered her a drink, even though that was just me just trying to slide over and just try to start a conversation, and I could see instantly very intelligent. It was just a couple, like a minute or two of just me just going over just to try to flirt and, pay my respects. But she had the most sweetest, most beautiful voice, one of the most beautiful voice, and she said her name was Eva. And I'm like, Eva? But anyway, but, I could see, when the look of the girl's face when the other two were coming out of the bathroom, it was not a friendly, welcoming look. So I was like, I'm going to slide back over here. I knew that I didn't even ask for the phone number. I knew that there would have been a slim chance after just talking to her for a minute that I would have gotten it. I might have. It would have taken more time without the other girls coming back to be like little pit bulls of like, get away from our friends, you know. But I didn't think anything else of it. But I walked back to the table and said, you know, they're like, oh man, I can't believe she talked to you for a minute, you know, da da da. And I said, oh yeah, Eva, you know, she's a nice, very intelligent young lady. And they're like, do you know who that is? I was like, no. Eva, she said her name was, you know, what about it? And they said, that's Ivanka. And I was like, I know the name. I've studied that, yeah. Cool, well, whatever, you know. This is like maybe 2006 to 2008, no later than 9, somewhere in there. I don't know. But it was after, I believe, the opening of Trump Towers, which I was there at the opening and was a few feet away from who I, at that time, respected until I learned that, well, he didn't necessarily openly pay all the people that he should have, the contractors, but I guess they ended up suing later in court to get their money. But I was upset with that for many years because of one of the contractors that lives in my ex-girlfriend's mom's neighborhood, and well, 2 of them, Long Grove. But anyway, I psychically saw that they ended up suing and getting paid some money out of what they were owed. But I had read the books at that point, and I was maybe at that time reading The Art of the Deal, which that's one of my phrases that I'd said for many, many years is it's all about the art of the deal. So that's why when the book came out, I was like, that's my phrase. I love that. I've got to read this book. But yeah, of course, that was a pretty good book. But I have not had much respect for that since, and I know that he signed the no-hide law, so I can never respect him again until he redacts that and changes that, and then then he'll have a chance. But otherwise, he better repent. But prayers and blessings to all the filming. Shane Michael, Rogue One. Yeah.